Welcome to the Things You Can't Unhear podcast. I'm your host, Maritza Barone. In this show, I will introduce you to ideas, concepts, and mindsets that will open your mind to a new world of well-being and personal life growth. Through eye-opening interviews, we elevate people in the world doing amazing things for humanity and share insights that will shift you to become the happiest, healthiest, kindest, and most compassionate version of you. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Things You Can't Unhear. Now, I have been a little bit MIA recently. I've been in the midst of homeschooling, like many of us, also launching a new business and trying to keep up working as a freelancer in an industry that has almost completely shut down over this time. So it's been interesting and it's been testing, and when we went into living in ISO a couple of months ago, the positive, optimistic side of me, which is the normal side of me, decided to take this time as an opportunity to try and record as many podcast interviews as I could and keep connecting with people through that and market my personal brand as much as I could, and really work on the back end of my business. And that's what I did, and it felt really great. But I knew I wasn't doing a great job at prioritizing homeschooling with my kids who are in grade 3 and grade 5. And initially I thought it would be quite easy. It couldn't be that hard to school an 8 and a 10-year-old. But when you see some of the work come through for 8-year-olds, I've got to tell you, I have no idea what a grapheme is or how to figure out how many elephants there were left on Sunday, if there were 53,674 million on Saturday and 12,604 went to the zoo on a bus. Honestly, there's a lot going on with homeschooling. So I started to think I might drop some of my work focus a little bit and focus on the kids and their schooling. So that's where I've been over the last few weeks, and the reason why there haven't been any podcast episodes since then. So for those of you who have been waiting for new eps to drop, I do apologize. But I'm back here today to check in with everyone because according to a poll of 100 women I was part of yesterday, 50% of them said they were staying connected by listening to podcasts. And then I ran my own poll on LinkedIn to see what others thought, and 70% of people said they were also using podcasts as a way to connect. So I knew it was time to jump back on and also keep myself connected because I was certainly missing that and missing the connection that I got through these podcasts and the interviews that I hold. So in this episode, it really is a check-in and a catch-up from me to you, and the interviews will be back as of next week, and I have some amazing people lined up to talk to you and to share their insights with us. But after talking to a few of my friends who are in corporate roles and who are also working from home with kids, I'm noticing that many of them are simply really not coping very well at all right now and feeling quite lost with their careers and also questioning their sense of purpose. Many of us are also questioning what we are going back to once these restrictions ease and the hustle and the busyness and the hectic lifestyles we had. It wasn't working for us then, and we're now trying to figure out what going back to the future means for us. Now, finally understand that term, back to the future. Our team at Conscious Conversations ran a community check-in Zoom event about this exact topic last week, and people shared their worries about what going back to their normal lifestyles felt for them. And many people in that catch-up had noticed that things over this time had allowed them to actually find themselves more, and they were starting to feel panic about going back to the grind and the hustle. Some of them said they'd actually quite enjoyed spending time in isolation and away from people because they had more time for themselves. They, for example, were having sleep-ins. They were spending more time with their family. They were wearing more relaxed clothing. It's the silly things, not having to wear corporate wear and high heels every day can take its toll sometimes. Another big thing that came up was that they didn't have to attend functions they didn't want to go to anymore. And they didn't have to see people that they didn't want to see anymore. They had a permanent excuse for not attending, not going, staying home. And the thing was, they started to look back at what life was going to look like when restrictions started easing, and they didn't feel great about it. Some of the feedback we also got was a feeling of guilt from people who are happily away from certain friends or family that they realize they just needed a break from. So it brings us to this question. How can we take lessons from what we are going through right now in isolation to make sure we return to a new and better life for ourselves? A life where we make more time for us to say no to the people or the events and the functions that don't make us happy, to celebrate our wins, to worry less about material things. The list goes on and on. I think the trick is to remember this feeling. Remember how we feel right now so we don't fall into the old patterns and the old routines that we were stuck in before. For me, this episode now is going to be my reminder, my personal reminder. It's going to be the thing I look back on to remember how I felt and what I don't want to take back into the future. Now, I know not all of you have a podcast to record your insights onto. However, you can just grab a pen and paper or even your phone to record a memo to yourself that you can go back to in 3 to 6 months' time to help you make sure the experiences you had over this time, the things you felt, the lessons you learned were not wasted, and that we all come out of this as better people for ourselves, better people for the people around us, better people for our colleagues, better people for our kids, better people for anyone we're in a relationship with. How about we make a commitment to ourselves that we will promise to always put some time away each day that is just for ourselves and to show us that act of self-love, to commit to incorporating a strong sense of inner purpose and ensure we're doing our best to serve this purpose, to find a way to give back, either in a small way or a large way, through your business, through charity, through kindness, being more open, being more connected, to remember to be more grateful each day, even for the things in our life that has made us learn and grow, and to remember that we may need to step out of our comfort zone temporarily in order to do this. For me personally, I've had some good and not so good days over the last couple of months, and I think definitely there's unfortunately many ups and downs to come. We're not out of this at all by any means. But I know if I make these commitments to myself, I can turn around the downs and bring more light into my life permanently. I'm not a life coach, but I have spoken to many life coaches and have used these techniques, and I know they work because even sharing my voice today, my feelings, my ideas, I feel lighter, and I hope in some way it can help you to feel lighter too. Not one of us know what we get to face around this pandemic, but we are here and we're in this together, and I think that helps in some little way. It certainly helps me. So how are you feeling right now? Have you got any ideas of how you intend to head into a new way of life once restrictions are eased? What are your biggest lessons from this time we've been in? I'd love to know. I'd really love to hear from you because podcasts can be a little lonely sometimes and there's not a lot of feedback that you get from sharing your voice and your ideas. So I really would love to hear from all of you who are listening today to just touch base and let me know what you think. And perhaps I can share that on my next episode and unite people through the way that they're feeling because, as I said earlier, it really does help. So you can get me on email. My email is maritza.c.barone@gmail.com. Of course, on my Instagram, Maritza_Barone, and on my Things You Can't Unhear Instagram handle as well. And as always, my friends, be happy, be healthy, be conscious, and be kind. I'm Maritza Barone. Thank you for listening to the Things You Can't Unhear podcast. I'd love to keep the conversation going. Let us know what you thought of this episode, and if something really profound came up for you that you want to share, let's talk about it. You can find me on Instagram at Things You Can't Unhear or on my personal page at Maritza_Barone. And if someone you know will benefit from something that was said in this show, make sure you share it with them too. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and keep up to date with what's next And if you can spare a few seconds, please rate and review the show on iTunes, just so other people can find us more easily and quickly. And as always, my friends, be happy, be healthy, be conscious, and be kind.